Okay, so we're going to start the recording and we're moving into something new. We've been doing Shema for a very long time, and Nishmas is a prayer that I've always been very curious about. Generally, you just say it on Shabbos morning. It has a lot of depth and value, and there actually is really since Rav Chaim Kanievsky of blessed memory, his wife, Batsheva Kanievsky, made it very, very popular. She took Nishmas out of being said just on Shabbos to actually being said as a skula. Does anybody know what the word skula means? Okay, so Sandy, how would you translate that word skula?
It's hard to translate. It's something due to try in a merit. It's like a merit.
Okay, you want it right. So it's almost a skula is like when you had to do an experiment. Did anybody remember doing experiments in school? And who had to grow mold? Okay, so I remember, your teacher said, "Okay, we're going to grow mold." So here's the skula. Okay, here's the formula to make sure that mold grows. So you took your orange and you put it in a dark room in a plastic bag, and you don't, put it in a refrigerator, and slowly but surely it grows mold. Okay, so a skula is I am going to tell you what to say, what to do, when to do it, and this is going to be the most opportune opportunity for you to have such and such happen. Okay, so one of those things is this prayer. Okay, this prayer has a lot of ability to change, okay, to change realities. So whenever you want to change something, the secret number for change in Judaism is what do you have to do to see something change? Like if I want to see change, I should do something for how many days?
3 times.
How many? Three times is a little change. What's a really big change?
7.
How many? Seven? A little more? What's it?
40.
40. Yay, Donna. Woohoo. Okay, so 40. 40 is a huge change. So name some 40s. We're
I'm
having a game
going to
show.
go when I'm finished ironing because I am.
Okay, wait. Name some 40s. Name some 40s that showed change. Come on.
40 days in the desert. 40.
Yes, yes. The Jewish people evolve into a whole different nation and a whole deal. Any other 40s?
Um,
Moshe went
Laila, you got to unmute. What?
Moshe went up to Sinai.
Yes, Moshe goes
Yeah.
up to Sinai, and then you get the Torah, whole thing. 40 days and 40 nights it rains, and the whole world
Noah.
is destroyed, right? The flood. Okay, so 40 is a very big day. So a very big amount of time that really institutes change. So a skula, right? A prime opportunity, says Rebbetzin Batsheva Kanievsky, for change and salvation is if you can say Nishmas for 40 days in a row. Okay, so who's heard of this idea? I know people, especially at the Kotel. So there are people who will, daven for their bashert. There's many a girl who flew to Israel for 40 days. I know someone who specifically did this for 40 days to stay at the Kotel and say Nishmas for 40 days. What does all this mean? A skula is opportune, okay? Does not mean what?
going to happen.
Going to happen?
Yes, 100%. It means you're moving into a more opportune time. I will give you an example. You want to win the lottery, an opportune thing to do. A skula to win the lottery is to buy the ticket. Okay? Do not try to win the lottery without buying the ticket. That is like really pushing it. So if I want to have a better opportunity, I would buy the ticket. So there are people who will say, you want hatzlacha, you want bracha. True story. Okay, one of the girls that I train, I love her. So she's an amazing person. So she has a daughter. Daughter is getting older, like daughter is turning 24. Okay, trying everything to find a shidduch, like you name it, here, there, going to Lakewood, sending her everywhere. Nothing is working. So finally she said, I had it. Okay, I'm letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting God. The only one skula that I am going to do is I'm going to learn two halachas, two laws of shmiras halashon, two laws from the Chafetz Chaim. You know, the Chafetz Chaim has so many books. So every day, two laws, this isn't going to take too long, with another friend, for 40 days, and that's it. And I'm not doing anything else. That's all she said. No more calling Shatchanim, no more flying her all over the world. That's it. I had it. Okay, goodbye. So she called up, remember Miriam Devrit's niece, Margalit. Okay, so Margalit became her chavrusa. Okay, so every day they're doing this. Within a couple weeks, they get a shidduch from Detroit. Okay, whatever. They already went to a lot of shidduchim. She gets the shidduch from Detroit, and this girl doesn't, like, things are happening. Like, whoa, this is moving. And the girl is getting engaged. And this woman who I'm talking about, let's give her a name, Chani calls Margalit to say, Margalit, like, the engagement party's in 8 days. Margalit goes, that's amazing. I'm so happy. And she hangs up. And then this little light bulb goes off in Margalit's head, boing, and she starts counting when they started learning this Shmirat HaLashon, and exactly 40 days from the day they started was the engagement of this girl. Okay? So Baruch Hashem, like really Baruch Hashem. So there's gazillions of stories around 40 days of learning Shmiras HaLashon and things happening that are really amazing. So I'm going to tell you like this. This is the way I look at these things, because I know a lot of people who were doing skulas and they didn't get engaged till they were 31, even though they started at 19, looking for their pashert, okay? So I remember once I was listening to somebody telling over a story. She goes, and the thing that really did it was that I, forgave someone who really got on my nerves. And I was thinking to myself, no, the thing that really did it was the accumulation of all of these prayers and all of these tefillos, and this just tips it over the top. That's all. So are some of the things heavier weighters? Yeah. Can I tell you I know which one weighs more? Like if you made a smile or if you gave $1 million donation? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Only Hashem knows. But we do know when we say a skula that we're assuming that it has a little more opportunity in it. So one of the little more opportunities is the concept of Nishmas. Now, it's interesting that Rebbetzin Batsheva Kanievsky, of blessed memory, came up with this idea. But generally speaking, the skula of Nishmas was not like that. It wasn't that people said it for 40 days. Very interesting. The generally accepted way to do a skula with Nishmas is that if Chalila, something is not good in your life, right? You need a shidduch. You say, you know what, Hashem? I know you're going to send me my shidduch. I know, ein od milvado, it's you. And when you send it, bli neder, I promise I'm saying Nishmas. The same thing, you get the message of, God forbid, ill health. You say, you know what, Hashem, ein od milvado, I know that what I'm going to do is I am going to say bli neder now. When I hear that great news, I'm going to say Nishmas. So they were talking about a family. The father's a chashiv, a rabbi in the States. And during COVID, he got really, really sick, like seriously sick. And we know when people were getting seriously sick over COVID, this was not a small story. So it was Rav Ginsburg. So Rav Ginsburg was very, very sick. And his wife and his daughter said, Hashem, with every good piece of news that you're going to tell us regarding our father and our husband's better health, that he's recovering and things are getting better, we're going to say Nishmas. And they did, and he completely recovered. And he really did not look like he was going to be doing well. So this is just different ways that we could use this skula of Nishmas. So the question is like, what's so great about Nishmas? Like, why isn't it, I should say to you, okay, say Ashrei for 40 days. Like, why are we saying Nishmas more than anything else? So Nishmas must have something very powerful. So I just remember, I kind of even want to do this class like in memory of Mrs. Hochman, because I remember Leah, Sheila Miller's mother, because I remember it was like I remember when she was speaking. So she had a schedule every morning. Like she would always say the Tehillim for the day, right? She would review the Parsha and she would say Nishmas. Nishmas meant a lot to her. Like she would say it was like such a beautiful tefillah, and it is. And she'd go through it and she'd say, like, look, how do we thank Hashem? If I was had eagle's wings, I couldn't thank you enough. Like it's really beautiful. So there is something to us in Nishmas. I would say if you had to look at the theme is gratitude to the Creator, like real gratitude.
Thank you.
That's what I think it really is the most about. Okay. So why attitude of gratitude? Because we all know if we lived with a lot of gratitude, we would have a lot of simcha, because it's something that fills you. Okay? What's gratitude? For a second, like I want to hear your opinions. Okay. So how does gratitude make you the better person? How does gratitude, like when we, like, you write those little gratitude things on the WhatsApp, like so many people are so excited about it. So why, what does it do when talk gratitude? What does it do?
Shows you the good in your life.
Okay, so it shows you the good in your life. So okay, like elaborate a little bit. Like we know, okay, shows you the good in your life.
No, it just shows you happiness. It shows you
Okay. It shows you the good in your life. You feel happy. Okay. What's so good about being happy?
You can live your life with joy.
What? Say that again, Leora.
You can fill up your life with joy.
Okay, so what is, like, I'm going to be honest, like what's joy do for you? Do you know how happiness is like the dreidel that turns the world? How do I get you to spend money? Tell me how I get you to spend. I tell you, this will make you happy. Mm-hmm. And that's how I get your money out of you. I'm being real, okay? Right? Like they spend a lot of time marketing, right? Remember all these like Pepsi commercials and Coke commercials with all the songs when we were growing up, and we ended up knowing them all by heart, okay? Because somehow Coke was going to bring peace to the world. You know what I mean? Like we're selling you this concept of happiness. So why is happiness so valuable?
it's a chemical that makes your body work better.
Endorphins.
Endorphins and all those things, they're biggest motivators. They're what gets you to wake up. It's what gets you to move forward. It's what gets you to make a decision. Right? Okay? So when you're going to say Nishmas, the point of Nishmas is for you really to get very in tune with who you are. Okay? Because we are very lost. Okay, we get very lost in this world, and we forget who we are, and we're in a world that it's so funny. I'm learning this in this thing that I'm taking. So there's a word called interoception. Interoception, you know what that means? And we've lost the ability. It's to recognize when your body's in balance. To just be able to go, that's it. That's what interoception is. Now, I'm going to tell you, when you're agitated and when you're aggravated and when you're nervous and when you're depressed, boy, oh boy, do you know it. Okay? And boy, oh boy, does this world talk about it 24/7. But for you to be able to just sit, like I'm being honest, like just take a second, like lean back in your chair and just sit. Take a deep breath, like, and feel like the ground under your floor, or the ground under your feet, and just be able to breathe and just realize I'm doing nothing, but I'm feeling joy and just being alive. Like we rarely do it. Like this is becoming we're losing it. The only way we can have interoception is if we're holding our phone, okay, and we're, you know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds funny, but it's a lost art. So Nishmas is trying to like bring this all back to you. Like, wait a minute, it's not about the doing and the thising and the thating. It's like thinking. Let's like think, and we'll articulate, how we're feeling, but we're not moving. We're not going anywhere. So Nishmas is primarily was created to be said on what day?
Shabbos.
Okay. So because what's Shabbos trying to do for all of us? Like really, like think about it. The gift of Shabbos, especially like in this generation more than any other generation. But what is the gift of Shabbos about?
Bringing you peace, bringing you
Ah,
happiness.
okay, bringing you peace and bringing you happiness by what?
A taste of a
Being in touch with the Creator.
Stay in touch with the Creator. Someone said a taste of the world to come. I thought that was very beautiful. Right. Okay. So what is it really? So why is it important to have a taste of the world to come? Why is that so important? I'm really being honest. I'm asking, like, why? Like, why? Why do I need to taste the world to come? I'm here, right now. Like, what do I taste the world to come? Why?
the ultimate peace, to be with Hashem, to be
Uh-huh.
that has no war.
Yeah. So ultimate is a good word. In other words, this little trip is short, okay, and moving at a mile an hour. Okay, everybody here who's going to the next birthday, are you freaking out? Okay, I'm like, yeah. I'm like so happy, but it's like what? Okay, like even my kids are old. Okay, so you're looking at them going like, "You're already middle-aged, you guys." What happened? Okay, anyhow, okay, but you know what I'm trying to say. So really, what Shabbos is the taste of the world to come. It's like slow down, you move too fast. Your whole week just went, bzzz, and as it went, bzzz, you weren't really thinking often you got lost in it. You know what I mean? You got lost in the bills, you got lost at work, you got lost in the carpool, you got lost on the traffic. I'm getting lost in the snow and the gray. Okay. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting lost in this stuff. I'm like, get me out of here. Okay. Right. All this kind of feelings. Right. So the Nishmas comes and says, okay, whoa, let me wake you up. Let me remind you who you really are. Let me remind you what eternity, what forever will really be. Let me remind you. Do you know what I mean? And that's the gift of Nishmas being said on Shabbos. Because you finally can close it down. Like, don't you love it? Like, really, I do. You shut the phone off for Shabbos, you put down the computer, like you're done. It doesn't matter what's going on. Like we don't know when is Iran being bombed, yes or no, who cares? You know what I mean? Like Shabbos, it's like, I don't care. We're here in Shul, we're with Hashem. You know what I mean? We got it, right? So this is the idea. So it's interesting. So this is where Nishmas plays a big role on Shabbos. So let me tell you how big of a role it plays. So sometimes they have these things like the order of what isn't like more important to say when you daven in the morning. Like sometimes you don't have that much time, especially women, we don't have that much time. So they'll tell you which parts are more of the, what's the word, central parts that to really have davened, you should really say these, and they give you an order. So there's a halacha, the Chafetz Chaim says that if somebody is late, they come to shul late, a man comes to shul late on Shabbos, right? And, he's missing a lot of the beginning of the tefillah, and he really wants to catch up fast so that he'll be able to be part of the minyan for Shema and Shmona Esrei. Then these are the things that he would have to say, okay? So what are the things that he would have to say? He'd have to say, Baruch She'amar. He would have to say Ashrei. He would have to say Yishtabach. And he would also have to say Nishmas. Okay, so that means that Nishmas is in the heavy hitter range. Okay? I can't, I feel bad, but it's not so clear. Okay, sorry.
The standing brachas, the first brachas?
Those standing brachas you could say very late. You should know that. Even though they're called brachas hashachar, you have all day to say them.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? So it's interesting. Okay, so now what's going on here?
Not the Shema?
No, this was they.
No.
This is, they would. This is the person is asking the shaila. They want to be able to say the Shema and the
Okay.
Shemona Esrei with a minyan. So, what is the least amount of stuff they have to say to catch up? So, Nishmas would be included in that. So, Nishmas has a very. It was written by the Anshe Knesset Hagdola. The person in the Gemara who wrote it specifically was Shimon ben Shetach. All right. And it's interesting that it's called Birkas Hashir. Like it's interesting that we the benching is Birkas Hamazon. Okay, this is Birkas, like Birkas Hamazon is like the bracha over Hamazon, which is like lechem, food, what was provided for you. Here it's called Birkas Hashir. So what does that mean? Birkas, like the blessing over Hashir. What's Hashir mean? The song. So when you say something like, remember what we say with the Hey HaYidiyah, like Rosh HaYeshiva, right? Mm-hmm. So if I would say Birkas Hashir, I'm telling you that this is a very, very important song. So Nishmas is called, it's almost considered like a song. So in our tefillah, there's a few songs, right? There's Oz Yoshir, right? And let's say Erev Shabbos, people say Shir Hashirim, you know what I mean? The song of all songs, right? So what's the difference between birkas, like this idea of a blessing, right? And a shir? What's the difference between the word, like something that's like a bracha and something that's called a song? So it's interesting for us to know what is the difference. So when you do a bracha, you usually are doing brachas over things that are very specific. Like, you know what I mean? Like you see, like, a bracha specific over the tree, fruits from the tree, fruits from the ground, like in the beginning, Birchas HaShachar, very specific. You didn't make me a goy, you didn't make me an eved, you didn't make me you know what I mean? It's like a very specific thing. I need a bracha to learn Torah, make it sweet in my mouth. Very specific. When it comes to a song, there's a lot more depth. It's usually longer, it's deeper, there's a lot more, what's the word, poetry and explanation, and do you know what I mean, and understanding. So here it's very interesting, it's specific and it's very elaborate. Okay, so Nishmas is a very specific ideas in it, but it's also very beautiful and very elaborate. Okay, so it's a Birchas Hashir. It's like targeting both these ideas. And the basic idea, like if we have to sum up, what is Nishmas trying to teach you? What's Nishmas trying to teach you? It's trying to teach you this idea that number one, Ein Od Milvado, there is no one but Hashem. Okay, and two, the importance of chesed and appreciation. Very interesting. Okay, so these are things that this shir is supposed to transform you from during the week. Okay, during the week, you can get very caught up in, I did my list and I got this done and I this and I that and I this, right? And really, Nishmas comes to tell you, well, not exactly you. You know what I mean? Like you tried and God blessed it, okay? But it isn't you, okay? Right? And it isn't all about you. That's another really big one, okay? Like it isn't all about you. The world was built on chesed. And godliness is being a person of chesed. So, and this is what Nishmas is going to start to bring out for you, okay? Okay. I'm just going to read to you like what the Lavush describes when he talks about Nishmas in the Shulchan Aruch. So you should know that this praise is extremely great and important, okay? Because what does it talk about? It talks about the three parts of the soul. So who knows what they are?
Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama.
Sandy's getting 2 stars. Okay. You got 2 thumbs up, Sandy. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's see what these things are standing for. Okay, so let's do it from the bottom up. right? So nefesh, what's the nefesh? What part of us is nefesh?
Body?
Yeah, so nefesh is like the blood running through your body. Nefesh is the animal soul, like the lowest part of the soul that we have. And here, go back here, everybody touch behind your head right over there just for a second. So if you feel go up and down, like right at the base of the neck, it feels a lot like a snake. Okay, so it's a very primitive part of your brain. Okay, so in this primitive part of your brain is your animal kind of reactions. So the animal reactions in life, right, are just three things, right? You eat and you like self-preservation, procreation, and then the preservation of the children you procreated, the children that you created. That's really and that's the basic animal. That's what a basic animal is living with. Okay, so it's not going, oh, let's build a hospital, and you know what I mean? And when it comes, okay, and when it comes to those things, the way your body manifests them is often with, especially when it comes to self-preservation, fight, flight, or freeze, right? And there is even something called fawn, right? Fawn. What's fawn again? You kind of like, you fake that you're dead or something. What is it? Like fawning. I forgot what fawning is. But these are 4 ways that we react, okay? And we can make decisions from there and we can be traumatized from there, okay? So this is the very primitive part of us. That's the nefesh. And really, it manifests itself in what I would call your action. It's your body that's able to do the action. So you can have lofty thoughts, right? But those thoughts need to, like, I want to do this mitzvah. But what ends up doing the mitzvah? The body, right? Like who shakes the lulav? The body. Who builds the sukkah? Who eats the challah? You know, who cuts the challah? Who washes the hands, right? It's the body, okay? So that's the nefesh. What's the next higher level of your being? So that's the lowest level. Now what's the next level? What? Your
Ruach, she said.
yeah, ruach. And what does ruach represent? What's the word ruach mean in English? Like
Wind.
Wind. Okay, so what does that represent? Yes, say it, Donna. Sorry.
Breath.
Breath, which is what?
Breathing.
Breathing, speech. Okay. Ooh, okay. This is the next highest level of who we are. All right. And I think it's all going to go with the brain because next comes the limbic system, right? And that's where you like your emotions and feelings. And how do we know our emotions and feelings? We express them, right? So, like, you know, we're writing poetry and plays and whatever else, and we're giving praise and all that, all coming from here. Or what else are we doing with our ruach? We're either building or we're destroying.
Hara.
What? Say that again, Sandy?
Lashon hara.
Yeah, like we're in trouble. We have to be very careful. Okay, so here's the ruach. Now the highest level of soul is here, which is like frontal cortex, right? Highest level where you put your tefillin, frontal cortex, and this is your thoughts and where you make decisions. Here is where you make decisions. And that's neshama. So neshama is obviously the highest because that's the one that's choosing between the good and the bad and the true and the false and the this and the that, right? So this is the one, here's headquarters that has to harness all of the feeling and all of those primitive reactions. And now I've got to take all this into account, right? You see what's going on here? Like I get angry. So primitive brain says attack, 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 right? Fight, fight, fight. Someone is threatening you, right? And then feeling part says my ego's being threatened. This is disgusting. Oh, I'm going to get them. And then frontal cortex, which is the highest part of the neshama, has to go, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Okay, guys. You know what I'm saying? So Nishmas is trying to tell you, you got to work with the whole gang. All right. And especially on Shabbos, because now you're not as distracted. Okay. And now you're focused in on why were you put on this world. Okay. And who are you? So if you look at Nishmas, so it says here, it says it. Nishmas, like which is the neshama, the soul, right? Kol chai tivarech eshimcha Hashem Elokeinu. The soul of every living being shall bless your name. Okay? Veruach. Okay, that's comes the voice, like the less part of you even. Ruach kol basar, and the spirit, right here it says, of all, wait a sec, yeah, of all flesh shall always glorify and exalt your remembrance, our King. Okay, so it's interesting, this idea of even zikracha malkenu, okay, your remembrance, which means you have to thank Hashem even for your past. When you hear that someone is sick, you're supposed to stop for a second and say, you know what, Hashem, let me thank you right now and right here for my health and for the fact that you kept me healthy all the way up until now. And please, Hashem, help this person. That's what you're really supposed to be doing. It's not like, oh, that's such a problem. Okay, so pass the kugel. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I feel sorry for them. No, it's really a moment for you to even reflect within yourself. You know what I mean? And to say, wow, I took this all for granted. Chalila b'chas, like, what happened to someone that we all knew very well and just suddenly passed away, right? Like went into the hospital with a flu and never came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't even think about it. Like, how many times, thank Hashem, you had the flu. Anybody here have the flu? You had the flu. Hashem saved you. Like, you hear this story. It's more than they died so young. Oh my gosh. It's more than that. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to even remember, right? Because how often did you just take it all for granted? You didn't even think about it, right? So it's like so this is like a very beautiful idea. So like Rav Avigdor Miller, they asked him a question. They said, like it's interesting. Look how interesting this is, I'm about to tell you. When they're saying Kaddish, right? When they're saying Kaddish in Shul, and it comes to that part, Amen Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevarach La'olam Ulamei Omaya. So people will shout it out. Do you know that? They'll actually say it very loud. You're supposed to say a lot of kavanah and a lot of feeling, and it is a skula. It's a skula, just like Nishmas is a skula. So what does that mean? An opportunity to cause something that you want to have happen. What's the thing that we want to have happen? It's a skula to break any of the decrees that are negative against the Jewish people or yourself. Okay? It's a big skula. Okay? Like, so that's why you say it. So it was interesting. Someone asked Rav Avigdor Miller, so what should you have in mind when you're saying it? He said, you know what you should have in mind? You should have in mind to be grateful to Hashem for every little thing. So gratitude in the end, if you really think about it, gratitude is your greatest skula. Okay? And I'm going to be honest, that's what you teach your little kids. But like when they say please and thank you, they get it. Okay. You don't say please and thank you, I'm not even listening. So this is a wise lesson from youth that we should learn. All right. And now that we're a little older, we're not learning it just for selfish purposes. It's not just, okay, so gimme, and therefore I'm going to, give you this, like, I'll say please and thank you. No, it's you to really develop that character trait, right? Because that character trait is for your good. You know what I'm saying? For your mental and physical and emotional and everything well-being. But this is the idea. So the real skula is the gratitude itself. Okay? So here's what it talks about. So I'm going to go on with what the Lavush said. So he says, when you talk about the nefesh and the ruach and the neshama, you're talking about action, speech, and thought, all right? And in Nishmas, it talks about all of it. And we as Jews, okay, I don't want anyone to, I feel badly about this, but you have to understand that just like they talk about these levels of existence, there's mineral, animal, vegetation, or vegetable, and man, right? So in Judaism, there's one more, and that's called the Yehudi. Okay, that's called. So what is it that we have more a more pronounced soul. Our soul has a little different kind of sensitivity to kedusha. True or false?
True.
True. Okay. Like there's a point you could see, like they would say, okay, so like there's a famous story this in Germany, during the war, there was a mayor of the town, of one of the small towns in Germany, who was actually a Jew. Could you imagine?
Wow.
Yeah, a mayor who was actually a Jew, very, very secular, like totally gone, totally lost. Anyway, they took him out, right, to kill him. He starts screaming, how could you kill me? I'm really like a non-Jew. I don't have anything to do with anything. Like, what are you doing? I was a good mayor, blah, blah, blah. I'm not nothing. I don't care about being Jewish. So the Nazis said to him, really, you don't care about being Jewish. So come with us to the shul. And they took the Torah out of the Aaron, they threw it on the floor, and they said, now you need to spit on it and step on it. And he couldn't do it. And they killed him. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like you know what I'm trying to say? Like, so there is something in us that has a deeper sensitivity. Now, if you don't nurture, okay, you need to know this. You know, you could be born easygoing. You have these different character traits. You see it in your own children. Anybody see it in their own children? This one is easygoing. This one is like a kvetcher. This one, like that, right? Just like we are. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But you really can see, like, like you almost think about, like, how did these two kids come out of this same family? You know what I mean? Like, you got it. Anybody have that with their kids? Like, very opposite personalities, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But the Torah tells you, even if you're, blessed with a character that's more patient and more kind and more this, if you don't use it, you lose it. Okay, so Jewish people could be blessed with incredible sensitivity to holiness. So tell me, where did Epstein come from?
Yeah.
Okay, because if you don't use it and actually abuse it, then you 100% lose it. Okay. The Shem says you have the capability, and not only that, it will sometimes turn opposite direction, because the higher you are, right? The taller you are, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Wow.
And that's why you will see Jews who are the top creme de la creme and all the Nobel Peace Prize winners. And then you will see headlines in the newspaper that we are so embarrassed about that you want to hide under a rock. Right? So when we look at these different qualities, like these characters of the mineral, the vegetable, the what's it called, the animal, then the man, there is one more. Okay? And that's us. All right? But you have to appreciate the responsibility that comes with it. Okay? There's a responsibility that comes with it. So he's saying this is what you have to appreciate, because we get lost. We mamish get lost and we forget who we are. And during the week, so much has hit you. Now came Shabbos, now comes Nishmas. Now you, what's it called, are creating, like you're what's the word? You're recharging.
Igniting?
Yeah,
Oh,
recharging. Yeah, it's a good one. Like you're recharging. Okay. So beautiful. Okay. Okay, let me see what he says. Okay, and what do? We connect to our King, to our Father, who continues like to do miracles for us, right? And especially like more than any other nation on the planet. Okay, we need to appreciate that. There is no other nation persecuted as much, but there is no other nation that has as many miracles as us, and no other nation who survives. There is no other nation who has survived history the way we have survived history. We really need to appreciate that. And not only history in the physical sense, but we have also survived spiritually, okay, which is incredible. Okay, so you still, like Vizos HaTorah, Sher Shamosha, like whenever I say it, it blows my mind. Like, that blows my mind. I look at the Torah and I go, what? This is the Torah that Hashem, you know what I mean? Does it, you know what I mean? Like, does, if you stop and you think about that for a second, that's crazy. Today, like, you don't know what's real or what's not real. If you guys you're watching any of your YouTubes and you're watching any of your favorite people, you have no idea if it's them. They are AIing everyone. Like, you'll hear people, they'll start their podcasts. What's his name? Who's he's not well right now, but he's really good. Hansen. Anybody know who I'm talking about with the first name?
Oh, Victor.
Victor Hansen. Do you know that he came out and he said, people are AIing me all over. They have my face, they have my voice, they're saying total lies, things that I don't say at all, and it looks like it's me.
Who's that?
Victor Hansen is a very, he's a conservative. He's a
He runs a think tank.
Yeah, he's really, really like very bright man. He does Daily Signal. Okay. So he said, like, he got on and he said, I just want people to know that I'm being imitated out there. So, like, we're going to be looking at things. And I was looking at something yesterday and it was a rabbi. Like, it was an AI on this rabbi. I realized later it was something like, when is the redemption and what's happening with Iran? And of course, like, I'm very interested. So I look and then it says like rabbi, blah, 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 blah. And then it said AI. And you could kind of tell because his voice, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was too stiff. It was like too stiff. But still, if you're not really concentrating, you know how like we're just kind of looking at stuff, you're looking at the news, right? You have to be so careful. So it's interesting. So we're so worried about this AI, but you see the Torah, Baruch Hashem, right? That is why the Torah has such strict, what's it called? Preventive laws, so that it won't be imitated. Like, one mistake, you have to check it. You have to read it 3 times a week. It can only be done by hand by someone. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be AI'd. It's not a kosher Torah. So we're never going to be able to do something like that. So thank Hashem. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so this is what we have to learn from this. So we have to be, so you're duty bound. Nishmas is going to try to show you what this responsibility is. You have this, soul that has more to it. You have, you're a ruach, you're a neshama, you're this, you're that. Ein od milvado. So what are we doing with all of this? Okay, that's what we're looking at. So I'm just going to start a little bit of the next part. Okay, so let's see. It says, okay, so it's bringing you back to the person who you are. This is a beautiful story. There was a rabbi. Okay, let me see. Who was the rabbi? The story of Dayan Abrovsky. So he was a rabbi. He was in Europe, and he was in a hotel. And he was, falling asleep at night, and then he hears this voice through the, like the hotels in those days, the walls weren't so thick. Not thick in these days either. But you can sometimes hear what's going on next door. Okay, so he could hear next door. It was like someone davening, and their prayer was so beautiful. And with every line that they were saying, they were talking about their own personal realities. Like, and he was so moved by who was this person. So in the morning he went down to ask at the front desk, and he said, like, who was it? And they found out it was the Chafetz Chaim, and this was the way that he said Nishmas Kol Chai. So every time, like, it would say something like, oh, it's so hard to, whatever, thank you, Hashem, you do, like, you'll see the beautiful things that Hashem does for us. He would say how he saw it in his life. You pick up the fallen. Oh, yeah, remember, you know what I mean? Like, he would actually say it in a way. If we would concentrate, you could do that with Birchas HaShachar too. Shasali Kol Tzor, he really gave me everything. So this, the rabbi that I was listening to, and I learned a lot of this stuff from, was Rabbi Yonasan Alpern. And he was saying, like, if a person really wanted to say Nishmas the way they're supposed to, should take 4 minutes. That's a long, I know that sounds like such a short time. It's not. That's a long time. Most people are finished their Shmona Esrei in 7 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm being real, right? So this is really, like he said, to really, if you really would get into it, and then you really could see that, incredible school. All right? Okay, so how did he say Nishmas works? So it's a mashal to a volcano. Okay, so a volcano, when it erupts and all the lava, I kept saying lafa when I was saying it to myself. Laugh. Oh, the lab. Okay. So like it covers the homes and the, and the vegetation and the trees, and like it's, you don't recognize it. Like it's all covered in these rocks. He said Nishmas can do that to you. It can like cover all your physicality and all your ego and all your this, you know what I mean? And turn you into a completely different landscape. That's, I thought, a very beautiful idea. Okay. All right. So let me just see. Okay. We said that. Yeah. So the stipler, whenever he would get sick, he would say, you know what, when Hashem Yisparach, you send me my refuah shalema, I Blinetter promise I'm going to say Nishmas. He was one of these people who was also very into it. It was interesting, like, in the Jewish people, it was very, very hard. Like, that they would, even in Russia and all these places, they would draft you. You would be drafted in the army. If you were drafted in the army, you could forget it. You know what I mean? You forget your Yiddishkeit, you forget everything. So they actually used to say, it's an interesting idea, that it was a skula for many people. This, like, what was that second? Yeah, Rav Shimon Skruf, I was right. He would tell people it's a skula to say, you know what, Hashem, like, save me, don't let me be drafted. I promise you I will, you know what I mean? I will say Nishmas. And they said a story of this Rabbi Guzman who was getting drafted, okay? And it was very scary. He ran to him and he said, what should I do? What should I do? He said, say this skula, say this, Hashem will save you. And I promise I'll say, Blinetter, I'll say this, Nishmas. And this Rav Guzman, when he was young, he did it. And then somehow the guy who was supposed to draft him was a non-Jew that was close to his father, and he, let him, get out of the draft. So that was like a really beautiful idea. Okay. 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 Right. So let's see. So we said this idea of the nishmas, that we said it's going to be the ruach and the neshama. They're going to glorify you, Hashem, right? You're giving blessings through the mind and through the voice. So what does that mean? Like your thoughts are going to bless Hashem. What does that mean? What does that mean? When I say your nishmas kol chai, like the thoughts, this part of the brain, your choices, your thoughts, right? They should all bless your name, Hashem Elokeinu, which is like God of mercy, God of judgment, right? What does that mean? Your thoughts. It means your mindset. So your mindset throughout the day should be looking to be grateful. That's what your mindset should be. So, all those people go like, thank you for the parking spot. And how many times I'm so happy I have a loony, like, when you want to get to the work, like that's one of the hardest things, right? You're all ready to go shopping and then no loony, you can't get your cart going. So like all these, like all day long, if you really think about it, your nishma could be grateful, right? Do you see that? It's all in the mindset. Right? So that's what it means here. And then to actually say it. So what's the point of taking it from the thoughts and the mind and the ruach actually verbalizing? Why do we do that? Okay, so you have to remember this, right? Remember this it's really so good, so easy, from the magicians. Remember Rebbetzin Jungreis used to say, this is one of the proofs to the Torah, because every magician all over the world says, abracadabra, I create according to the way I speak. Abaraka adaber, okay? Like, which is really Hebrew words. So this is the whole idea. Hashem is saying it's really nice to say, oh, I appreciate it in my mind. But if you don't verbalize it, right? Like that's kind of what happens in all relationships. You never really say thank you. You know what I mean? To the people you love. You never say to your husband, oh, I really appreciate you did this. You went to work and you took the garbage out or whatever you did. You know what I mean? And he never appreciates you or your kids or this or that. Like it's so important, right? So this is the idea. Okay, so I'm going to stop here but I'm very excited to do Nishmas. I hope you guys are good with this. Yes? Yes? Thumbs up?
Right.
Yeah, I think I really always wanted to do it because of all the skula stuff. Okay. All right. So let's do our favorite. We're going to do Tehillim. I'm going to shut this off. I'm going to thank everybody. See, talk about appreciation. I cannot thank you enough. That's the
Gail,
end.
are we changing the Tehillim?
Not for tonight, unless you want to, because I see Anne didn't come. Unless you want to, do you want to start to do a different Tehillim so we could like do 1:30 so we could get more used to things? You tell me.